Kobeomsuk has over 296,000 subscribers on YouTube and millions of views on his peaceful, no-talking style woodworking videos. And because of that, his name has become a pretty familiar one in the YouTube woodworking world. But like many YouTubers who don't talk in their videos, the viewers often find themselves asking the question, who are they? During my trip in Korea last year, I got a chance to meet with him in person, and in this video, we'll be learning a little bit about the man himself and going on a quick little tour of his woodshop. If you drive about an hour away from Seoul, you'll find a tall, white, and kind of cute looking building out in the countryside. It's surrounded by mountains, valleys, flowers, and greenery. And in the front yard, there's even a cute little table with some birds to pass the time with. This beautiful spot feels like it came straight out of a fairy tale and is Kobeomsuk's woodworking studio. As soon as you walk in, you'll notice its airy openness. With a wall full of hand tools and some works in progress, you can quickly identify it as a wood shop. But with the fresh outside air flowing in, the view of the greenery right in front of you, and the warm sunlight pouring in through the big old window, you can quickly sense the peace you might feel to do woodworking here. His wall of hand tools features a pretty nice and full collection. He's got some Japanese hand planes, Japanese pull saws, a variety of chisels, and even a healthy bunch of Western hand planes. And just past the wall is the entrance to what I'd call his processing room. It's filled with a lot of the usual suspects you'd find in a wood shop, like a table saw, planer, joiner, drill press, mortar stir, and router table, and is mainly used for processing the wood before bringing it out to the front for any clean or hand tool work. In his clean area sits his infamous live edge TV stand, a display case that houses his silver YouTube plaque, and some of his most prized hand tools, like these with Damascus steel and these with blue super steel. Kobeomsuk doesn't just work on his own projects though, he also teaches. With a maximum of 6 students per class, Kobeomsuk teaches beginner, intermediate, and advanced woodworking classes, covering subjects such as hand tools, machinery, furniture design, as well as 3D modeling. And once you've completed all 3 of those stages, which meet once a week and are 12 weeks long, he also has independent classes to deep dive into subjects you need. He's a phenomenal teacher, lives in a magical place, has a worldwide presence for his work, and loves using hand tools. And despite sounding like a wonderful woodworker pulled straight out of a Disney book, Kobeomsuk wasn't always a furniture maker. Before this, he majored in fashion design and actually worked at apparel trading companies, but not necessarily because he wanted to be. In Korea, careers aren't something that people generally choose in the same way that people choose in the States. Success is painted as working at a well-known company or going into a prestigious profession, such as becoming a doctor, a university professor, a judge, a prosecutor, or even a lawyer. With these routes being essentially the definition of success, students are basically molded into study machines, with their sole purpose being to get good grades so that they can get into a good university and then become these successful things. And because of that focus in Korean society, students don't freely think about what they want to do. Those paths are it. And the only way to get there is to work super hard and get good grades. And whatever grades you get determines which school you can attend, which majors you can pick, and you'll be guided to move along accordingly, with some choice here and there as to maybe what fields you'd like to specialize in. All of this isn't to say that people in Korea have no choice at all. In many ways, the process is very similar to Western education, but the difference is in the emphasis of it and the guidance of students towards particular fields. With America being so big, you essentially have a lot of options and a lot of opportunity. With South Korea being so small, your options become much more limited, making every field, especially the successful ones, fiercely more competitive and scarce. And Because of that, you might hear from time to time that Koreans don't really think about what they want to be in life. They're guided based on their grades to become what the educational system thinks they should become. This is basically the sentiment and culture of what I've personally experienced, and Kobeomsuk expressed the same. As a kid, he'd always imagined that he was going to be a company man like his father. And based on his performance in school, along with his interest in drawing and art, he was eventually guided into the fashion industry, majoring it in college and moving onwards to work at a fashion company. After becoming a company person, he very quickly noticed how fleeting and almost insignificant his contributions to the industry were. Work became very routine. His clients would send designs, he'd coordinate the designs with a third party, and then send the results back to the client. Working past 5 felt like a prerequisite, and the weekends were never for just himself. One day, he was shopping around for a bar table but noticed that he couldn't quite find anything that fit his taste. And because he'd always been pretty crafty, he decided to take a shot at designing and building it himself. It wasn't fancy at all. At a nearby shop, he had some MDF cut down to size, took them home, and then assembled the pieces together. And while he was doing this, his then girlfriend and now wife noticed his eyes light up. And that moment was the spark that would become Kobeomsuk furniture. He began to take woodworking classes and discovered that he had a natural knack for it. And what pulled him even more down the rabbit hole was a realization that the things you created had the potential to last for generations, something he was never able to feel in the world of fashion. After many long conversations and per his wife's suggestion, they put into motion a plan to leave the fashion world to pursue fulfillment and a more meaningful life in his newfound passion. This transition wasn't done overnight though. For years, he continued working a full-time job and in his off time studied and practiced woodworking. And in 2017, he officially left the fashion world and opened up the studio that we see today. As a college student, Kobeomsuk also skateboarded and frequently filmed himself while doing so. Naturally, his filming transferred over to woodworking, and after years of posting pictures and video clips on his blog, he made his first long-form build video on his YouTube channel in 2017, the same year he opened up his woodworking studio. And in just 6 months from his first post, he found himself with over 60,000 subscribers. For any aspiring YouTuber, this kind of rise is a dream. But for Kobeomsuk, it came with a cost. After posting his designs online, he noticed that people started to copy his designs. As someone that spent countless hours creating and recreating ideas from scratch, the fact that people could watch a video of his and copy it frustrated him. And instead of letting it defeat him, he began to create even more difficult and complex designs, pushing his skill set and ultimately helping him discover and refine the style that he'd become known for today. Hans Wegner, Charles and Ray Eames, Frank Lloyd Wright, and Mies van der are all prolific personalities who've made a mark in the world with their designs. And recently, Kobeomsuk has also found himself with a goal inspired by them: to become a designer that people will recognize when they think of modern Korean furniture. To achieve that, he's been entering his works into competitions and exhibitions, even recently winning silver at the New York Product Design Awards. He said himself that it's gonna be a tough goal, but as he's done with all things in life, he created a plan and is now restlessly carving his way through. I think that one of the coolest aspects of learning about other people is that there's no way we can live everyone's lives or walk down the same path that they've decided to pursue. Listening to their story is almost like being able to peer through a window to learn from and to discover clues and insights that can help us reaffirm our own actions and choices. From Kobeomsuk, I really appreciated the way that he approaches his dreams so logically. When he decided to pursue woodworking, he didn't just drop everything and go after it unprepared. He and his wife had an entire roadmap for how they were going to transition from from the fashion world into furniture, and it took years of planning and preparation to make it happen. On top of that, they paid extra attention to how he was going to financially sustain his pursuit of art, which was through both furniture sales and woodworking classes. I think the reason why I appreciated their approach so much is because being logical about things is something I have a hard time with. I get so lost in the pursuit of things that I tend to forget about everything else. Time? What's that? Cost? Who cares? Hearing how intelligently both Kobeomsuk and his wife have approached every step of their journey really inspires me to incorporate more of the same, or at least to the best of my ability. And the second thing I appreciated was his entire journey to passion and purpose. Sometimes figuring that out can feel impossible, or not even a question worth entertaining. Almost like going through a maze and turning corners just because you have to. But regardless of how that moment of finding the cheese happens, whether it be intentional, by total accident, or even by a close one noticing a twinkle in your eye, taking that moment to have a hard and truthful conversation with yourself can possibly lead you to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. One where you won't have to feel insignificant or like you're living purely to work for someone else's interests. And I think that in the end, that feeling, the pursuit of it, is what life is all about. That, my friends, is my conversation with the amazing Kobeomsuk. If you're interested in the full version of the interviews, the links for them will be in the description box below. And if you watched all the way to the end, let me know what you thought of this video. I'll be flying out to Korea on April 1st, and this time, instead of running around and doing a bunch of interviews, my partner and I will be spending a lot more time going on hikes and random adventures, all of which will be documented on me and my partner's other channel, Don and Clara. So if you're interested in seeing those videos, I'll have a link for the channel down in the description below too. Other than that, I've been wrapping up my duck system and preparing to launch a side hustle that I've been working on for a while. And last but not least, another tongue twister for me to try. Tight! Alright, here we go. She sells seashells by seashore. The shells she sells are surely seashells. She shells. So if she sells shells on the seashore, I'm sure she sells seashore shells. It's kind of like the woodshop. She sells seashells by the seashore. The shells she sells are surely seashells. So if she sells shells on the seashore, I'm sure she sells seashore shells. She sells seashells by the seashore. The shells she sells are surely seashells. So if she sells shells on the seashore, I'm sure she sells seashore shells. I think that was good enough. All right, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out.